doesn't continue to get a push, that could be something that we could talk about, So
Right. That'll be something that like maybe 2-3 games in we can start looking at what really needs to improve and what stuff needs to be worked on.
Yep.
I guess it's a good thing that after the first game that there's not like this big glaring thing that needs to be fixed.
That is
But
good to think about it.
But we are back on Wednesday. Jake and I were talking before the show, and we have come to the realization that we are no longer a weekly Wisconsin sports podcast and show. We are now a twice a week Wisconsin sports podcast and show. So today we have Brewers and Badgers. We'll have some Bucks coming up in about a little over a month, and that'll be on the Wednesdays. And then Friday nights is going to be Friday night Packers shows, so we're really looking forward to that. We're going to try and set up a Sunday morning live show, but that's got to come together really quickly. So we'll see if that happens. But today we have Brewers and Badgers to talk about. I know there's a lot of negative energy around the Brewers right now. I know there's a lot of it. And when Jake and I talk about this, we're going to talk about the games. We're going to talk about the games quickly, and then we want to talk about the fan base and what's potentially coming in the offseason. We're not going to do offseason analysis right now because we're not sticking a fork in the Brewers until they're mathematically eliminated. So, it's baseball. Anything that can happen will happen eventually. So why not now? Or has happened. Exactly. So, until they're mathematically eliminated, we're not going to say that they're done or whatever. But we want to talk about, like I said, like the fan base a little bit when we get to it, and some of the stuff floating around about the team. So let's start with the Diamondback series, and we'll just, like I said, we'll just kind of run through the games, and then let's have some conversation.
All right. So first one, Woody was on the mound. 5 2/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. Suter pitched a third of an inning, nothing across the board, so that's good. Perdomo, 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, no Ks, but he didn't allow earned run. The Brewers also didn't score a run. They lost this one 5-0. Only 3 left on base and 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, this is pretty much Brandon Woodruff's first off game of the entire season.
Yeah.
And Perdomo pitching 2 scoreless innings is something to keep in mind when we talk about yesterday's game. The Brewers only had 4 hits. They didn't draw any walks, which I thought was worth mentioning. 11 strikeouts as a team. That's not good, but we've seen worse. Obviously, I'd like to see that number lower.
Yeah.
Arizona scored all of their runs with 2 outs. And then this was also the game where Christian Yelich hurt his neck. Thankfully, we know that he was able to come back. And I said this last week, don't look past the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. They're actually decent teams just in a very, very tough division. The Diamondbacks have actually caught up to the Giants in the standings. Diamondbacks are a good team. Don't let their past fool you just because they haven't been relevant in, 20 years or so.
That is what Matt said is actually pretty spot on.
I want to come back to that. I'm going to finish. I just want to say a couple of things. Christian Walker is really good. And apparently Arizona can just turn out really good first basemen. So if they want to send us Christian Walker for nothing, like they sent Paul Goldschmidt to the Cardinals, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, right.
All right. So we can put Matt's comment on here. He said he's a little late, but he's going to say it. He hates the 2022 Brewers because they remind him of the 2018 Packers. So the 2018 Packers was the first year with Matt LaFleur. And it felt like they had, last year with McCarthy because they hired him in 18. So
we fired McCarthy.
Halfway through, and then Joe Philbin. Yep. So this is something maybe Jake and I can take a little bit of a look at. Maybe we can bring this up next Wednesday and see if there's, a little more comparisons to it than can be made. But like I said, we know it's frustrating what we're dealing with the Brewers right now, and after we talk about the games, I want to talk about a couple things. So let's go to game 2. Brewers had 13 base runners, left 11 of them on.
Yeah, they did.
Only 3 runners in scoring position, and they grounded into 3 double plays. It just need better offensive execution when it comes to guys on base. It's just, And Matt, I agree with you. I don't think Council will or should be fired. That's one of the things we want to talk about after we talk about the games. Brewers did have first and third with one out in the top of the second inning. Keston here got picked off. I'm not actually, when it comes to making outs on the bases, I'm actually not that critical about that stuff because it means you're being aggressive. And that's what like Jake and I say a lot of times where we don't fault effort. Like I don't fault the Brewers for being aggressive on the bases because they've struggled to get hits stacked on top of each other. So I'm actually not mad at that when Brewers make outs on the bases because it means they're being aggressive, which is something that I called for coming out of the All-Star break as a way to potentially improve the offense, was to be more aggressive on the bases. So I'm fine with it. Like it sucks that Hero got picked off and they left a bunch of guys on base, but like I said, I'm fine with the aggression part of it. Andrew McCutchen drew a bases loaded walk with 2 outs to get the one run in, and he made a nice catch at the fence. 12 strikeouts by the Brewers in this game. So kind of a theme when it comes to strikeouts, when it comes to wins and losses. Eric Lower had a solid outing, 6 2/3, 6 hits, no walks, which is important. Gave up 2 earned runs. Hobie Milner stranded two runners and an inning and a third scoreless. What did you see from that second game?
It's a lot of missed opportunities, which is probably the theme of the Brewers season up to this point.
It's the special teams Achilles heel.
Yeah. That's really what it is, man. A lot of missed opportunities. I don't think the worst part about the Brewers is their hitting, actually. Even though they've had games where they leave 11 on base, I actually think the bullpen's been letting them down for a lot of the season.
I'm going to get even a little bit more specific about the bullpen because I want to get really specific about it when it's the 6th, 7th, 8th inning guys. When Boxberger, Milner, Rogers, when those guys aren't available, that's when the bullpen struggles, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's really the Achilles heel of this team. I mean, they're going to have to figure something out, but, I mean, what'd you say?
You know what's missing there?
What's that?
Trevor Gott and Jake Cousins.
Yeah.
Trevor Gott should be back soon. Justin Topa is actually in Colorado today, so he might be added for tomorrow's doubleheader because I think they got to add a guy to the roster. Matt, I'm fine with banning special teams, although I am encouraged by what I saw from O'Donnell in the last preseason game. But did you have anything else you wanted to say about Game 2?
No.
All right, go to Game 3, the one win from the Brewers that series.
Yep, and on my birthday, so
yeah, good job, 2 wins on your birthday. Lucky you.
Let's go. Good job, boys. Brewers won this one 8-6. Corbin Burns was on the mound, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 Ks. He hasn't been himself the last couple starts, but he gets a pass. He's good enough. He gets a couple passes, so he'll get back to it. Excuse me, real quick. Boxberger, third of an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 K. Skrzletsky, oh my God. Suter,
you can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, Suter, Williams, Rogers. They all pitched an inning. Skrzletsky gave up a hit. None of them gave up an earned run. 1 walk by Suter. They all had a K, except Rogers, who had 2 Ks. Taylor with 2 home runs in this one. Had 1 late that won the game, so he's up to 15 for the year. Tellez, 28th. Taylor with 3 RBIs, Tellez RBI, Carantini with 2 of them, and McCutchen also with an RBI. So Corey, the Bojo Bomb, looked good last year in camp.
Yeah, he looked good at times during the regular season too.
He was inconsistent.
Yeah,
he'd have one that would go 70 yards, and the next one was going 32 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Pat O'Donnell has pitched in bad weather before, playing in Chicago for a long time.
In Chicago, yep.
He understands bad weather. He understands ball placement. Yep. We are in much better hands.
Yeah, Bajorquez came from L.A., so.
Yeah.
All right, so Asterio Ruiz made his debut in this game. He was hitless, but he did score twice, so I wanted to bring that up. Jake mentioned the 3 walks by Corbin Burns. None of those walks scored, actually, which is worth mentioning, I think.
Surprising.
Matt just brought it up, too, that he's got experience with the Bears. I want to bring up the home run that Corbin Burns gave up to Varsho. Varsho is actually from Wisconsin, so if that softens the blow for you, I don't know if it does or doesn't, but he's from Wisconsin, so there's that.
Cool.
This was Tyrone Taylor's first multi-hit game since August 3rd.
Yeah, that's gross.
He went literally a calendar month without 2 hits in the same game. When it comes to all the Brewers' outfield prospects, I think Tyrone Taylor is going to be kind of on the outside looking in as far as 2023 is concerned, but we will cross that bridge in the offseason. I want to bring up also Rowdy Tellez, you mentioned. 4 of his last 6 home runs have happened in the 9th inning, and 3 of them were game-tying home runs.
Were we on Xbox talking during this?
Maybe. It's totally
Because I
possible.
said this to you. I was like, dude, he always homers in the 9th. And then you said that to
I
me.
think,
And I was like,
I think I had the game like on my
Yeah.
tablet while we were playing, and I was watching
Yeah.
the game while we were talking. And yeah, I think that's what it was. Because then like the graphic came up on the screen, and I was like, yeah, 4 of his last 6.
I'm like, dude, that's crazy. He always homers in the 9th, I feel like.
4 of his last 6. So this is the game the Brewers won in this series. First game, 12 strikeouts as a team. They lost. Second game, first game was 11 strikeouts. Second game was 12 strikeouts. This game, the game they won, was only 7. So
That's a little better. Couldn't ask.
It's 7 strikeouts a game would be like best in the league. Most of the league is between 7 and 8. So, it's obviously really easy to say that strike out less and you'll win more, but the correlation is a bit stronger. Let's go to game 4, the Zach Gallen game.
Jason Alexander started this one. 4 2/3. He had 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 Ks. Hobie Milner, who was good again this week, 1 1/3, 1 hit, 3 Ks. He was absolutely dominant in this game. Bush, 1 inning. Suter, 1 inning. Bush, nothing across the board, 2 Ks. And Suter gave up 2 earned runs and a walk and 0 Ks. So Suter wasn't on his A game. Renfroe with the solo shot with 2 outs in the 9th to make sure the Brewers didn't get shut out twice in one series. So take that for what you will.
So you mentioned Renfroe, the solo shot. That extended his hit streak to 11. So Renfroe had an 11-game hitting streak going. Brewers only had 3 hits and 4 total base runners in this game. So it comes down to some more offense. Suter finally got cracked. He had 10 straight scoreless appearances before that. He only gave up 2 earned runs in all of August. So, Suter's been pretty good. Jason Alexander, the start that he had wasn't awful. Like, obviously, giving up 3 earned runs is a bummer. But going up against Zach Gallen, who's potentially a Cy Young candidate, that's tough. The 4 walks that he gave up, 2 of them did score. So I mentioned Corbin Burns before. None of the walks that he gave up scored. 2 of the ones that Jason Alexander gave up did come around to score. And Varsho, again, the Wisconsin kid, hit another home run. And that's pretty much the story of that game. It was pretty much the Zach Gallen game. So frustrating series in Arizona, and now we're dealing with another frustrating series in Colorado. But let's talk about the first game, because this game was actually at least good to discuss. This was actually one of the things that I want to talk about when we're done talking about the games. But go ahead and talk about game 1.
Okay. How's your 5 innings pitch? 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 Ks. He played really, really good in this one. Bush, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 K, no earned runs, no walks, so that's good. That's Boxberger, excuse me. Boxberger gave up 1 hit and 1 K. Bush gave up no hits and 1 K. Rogers, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 K. And then Williams came in and just shut the door. He had 1 walk, but also the 1 K, but no hits, no earned runs. What's up, Taylor? How you doing, buddy? RBIs in this game. McCutcheon got his 59th. Peterson had 2 to get to 32 on the season. Carantini had 3, a 3-run homer to get to 29 RBIs and his 9th homer of the year. Peterson and Tellez also had doubles. 13 doubles in the year for Peterson and 22 in the year for Rowdy Tellez. So it was a pretty good game offensively for the Brewers, I'd say.
Yeah, and I want to give Adrian Hauser like a world of credit for this game. The first 6 batters of the game reached against him, and then he retired 15 straight.
Yeah, that's exactly what the doctor ordered.
I'm gonna talk about Hauser again later. It's a spoiler alert, but like you mentioned, Rowdy Tellez, Andrew McCutcheon, Victor Caratini had two hits each. Yelich came back for this game. The Brewers did strike out 11 times as a team, but obviously put up a ton of hits. It was Victor Caratini's first home run since August 4th. So he went basically a calendar month without hitting a home run. You mentioned Boxberger and Bush. Rogers, the home run that he gave up to CJ Cron. First of all, CJ Cron is a massive power hitter. So that the pitch that he hit was down and in. So that was a really tough pitch to hit out. What's up, Edward? Really tough pitch to hit out. And you're playing in Colorado. So, Taylor Rogers threw some really good sliders, had a couple questionable calls on the walk that he gave up. And he gave up just the one earned run. And then he had the walk, the single, and the hit by pitch. So, it is what it is. And then we got to talk about Devin Williams with this game. So, Devin Williams comes in for the first time going multiple innings since September 25th, 2020.
Yeah.
So he got a first 4-out save of his career. And it was actually Craig Counsell's 600th managerial win. So, some good vibes coming from that game. And then obviously we switch back to bad vibes. And going into game 2, the game started off really great. Obviously the first 8 innings were really good for the Brewers. Christian Yelich hit the longest home run of Major League Baseball's season this year. The second longest at Coors in the StatCast era. To only, do you know who hit the other one? The longest at Coors Field?
Oh, this is good.
This is good. Because it comes full circle.
Oh, it comes full circle?
It comes full circle.
Is it Ryan Braun?
No.
Prince Fielder?
No.
I don't know that.
It's Giancarlo Stanton. But
I knew it.
But you know who was batting ahead of Giancarlo Stanton that day?
It was Yelich.
It was Christian Yelich.
I was going to say him too, but I was like, that's too obvious.
Yeah. So, yeah, Yelich was in the dugout when Giancarlo Stanton hit the longest home run at Coors Field since the StatCast era. 5 feet shorter, Yelich's was. Yelich hit a 499-foot home run. That's just insane.
That's a monster.
Only in Colorado.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff looked great outside of the home run that he gave up, which was a tough pitch too. Basically, you put a ball up in the air in Colorado, and it's got about it feels like a pretty good chance of going out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's a shit ton of frustration. Yeah, imagine what the Marlins could have been. But the Marlins currently have Sandy Alcantara, who they got from the Cardinals in the Marcell Ozuna trade. So be happy that the Cardinals don't have Sandy Alcantara, because then they'd be a freaking 100-win team again too.
Yeah.
So Brewers got lucky that the Cardinals got screwed in a trade for once, seeing as they just give a box of peanuts and they get Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. Probably going to finish 2 of the top 3 in MVP voting in the NL this year, but
probably.
So I know there's a lot of people super pissed about Brandon Woodruff being pulled after 7 innings in this game. Now, first of all, we all have the benefit of hindsight, knowing the Brewers gave up this lead. Second of all, it happened with Devin Williams. If you listen to his post-game conference after the multi-inning save game, and then you listen to Brandon Woodruff talk after this game, that the ball spins differently in the high altitude. So Williams talked about it with his changeup, that he didn't have as great of control with his changeup, but he had really good control of his fastball. Brandon Woodruff was the same thing. He had really good control of his fastball, but his curveball was all over the place because the ball spins differently on that high altitude. The way that Brandon Woodruff was talking after the game, it sounded like he was good for maybe one more batter in the 7th inning or the 8th inning after pitching 7 innings. So he felt he was pretty much done. He felt like he was losing his grip, losing his stuff. So I really, blaming Craig Counsell for the team blowing the lead, knowing after the fact that the lead would be blown, it's really just unfair. And I'm not just out here just to blindly defend Craig Counsell, but if there is a situation where you can put a reliever in here, it's got to be with a 5-run lead. Like, you have to be able to trust a 5-run lead. You shouldn't have to put in, Matt Bush and Devin Williams in a 5-run lead. Obviously, people with the benefit of hindsight say, the Brewers blew the lead. But what I want to bring up is the fact that the Brewers play an afternoon game today and a doubleheader tomorrow. So you put out Devin Williams, who had pitched on the day before, Matt Butch, who had pitched the day before, or Brad Boxberger, who had pitched the day before. You're basically saying that they're not going to be available for Wednesday or potentially Thursday, whether it be the first game or the second game. That's all stuff that Craig Counsell has to be thinking about while, as fans, we're just thinking about the game that's in front of us.
True.
Not sure how you feel about that.
I'm going to use this opportunity to answer Brad's question. Brad, I'm not coming at you, but do you think that ownership expects Perdomo to go up there and give up 4 hits and 4 earned runs and not record an out? They don't have any control over that.
He had 2 scoreless appearances before that. And a 1.46 ERA in the season to this point.
It just happens. It's one of those things that just happens. It's shitty the time and place that it happened. And the reason, I understand. I mean, last night I was a little upset too. We're in a lot of high pressure games because we're trying to force our way into the playoffs when we're on the outside looking in. So I understand, the criticism and stuff, but you got to take a step back and think about it. They can't control some of the shit that happens, so.
It's baseball, and it's fucking Colorado.
Yeah, man.
They talk about it like the players themselves. They talk about it. They're like, you have to view like a 4 or 5, 6 run lead as like a 1 or 2 run lead when you're in Colorado. Because crazy. The game can change that quickly.
Yeah, Brewers still got some outs, man. Who knows? They could come back. Hunter Renfroe get a grand slam or something. I don't know. Something can happen. We don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So I saw a lot of comments after the game, which is this is going to bring me to one of the things that I want to address. Matt, again, we have the benefit of hindsight. You have the benefit of hindsight knowing that the Brewers run that lead. You have that hindsight. Craig Counsell doesn't have that benefit of hindsight. And again, that's where you're thinking about it. Like you have to think about it. You can't just think about only the ones in front of you, though. Especially coming into 3 games in the next 2 days, including an afternoon and the travel back to Milwaukee. There's a lot of factors that are in there. So, I mean, you got to be able to trust your guys. Like I said, Perdomo had 2 scoreless appearances before this. And you got to be able to trust a 5-run lead. It's baseball, and it happens. Which brings me to the point that I saw being brought up on social media, because people love to run and complain immediately, is if the Brewers miss the playoffs by 1 game, they're going to look back at this game and be the one that kept them out. How many games have the Brewers won this year that they should have lost? That's several is the easy answer. The Brewers have won games that they should have lost. They've lost games they should have won. It's really easy to pick and choose the ones that are fresh in the memory and use that recency bias and say, hey, well, this is going to be the reason we don't make the playoffs.
True that.
All right. So is there anything you wanted to say about the second game, about last night's game?
It's nice to see Yelly hitting homers again. I'll say that. Renfroe, I hope that guy sticks around for a long time. I know we have a lot of outfield talent, but I really like Renfroe. Hope he sticks around. Other than that, no. It was refreshing to see Woody come out, after that win that we got 6-4. And then you look at the stats, you're seeing Woody dominating, and the Brewers are up by five runs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like, okay, we're going to get back on track, get 2 wins in a row, come back, see if we can get 2. Maybe we'll take 1 and 2 from the Giants, split the doubleheader, and then we'll come back home. And, we have the Cardinals coming up on the schedule pretty soon here. And it's like, all right, I can see where this is going. But, last night's loss was really it was a gut punch. I won't lie. Definitely a gut punch. Especially since it was.
I think Renfroe was a 1-year deal.
I thought he was here next year.
He might be. I'm gonna pull up his contract right now. I don't know if there's anything you want to say about today's game that's going on right now. Obviously, it sucks.
I was just checking in on it. They scored another run. It's 8-1 now. Crone grounded out to second, and Daza scored, so they're up 8-1. Yelich is up to bat. Yelich got a hit and an RBI.
Nice.
There we go. It's 8-2.
Yeah, Matt was right. He has a year of control yet. He's got an arbitration year next year.
Oh, okay. He has a year of control left. Okay. Well, we have Yelich on second. Willie Adames is up. We have 1 out. So who knows, man? Willie gets on. it's all downhill from there then.
Taylor, I will bet you a pie bet that it's more likely that Hunter Renfroe gets traded than an extension.
Yeah, because we have a crazy amount of talent.
Dude, it's insane. And like you could honestly, in my opinion, you could trade Hunter Renfroe for probably a lot. And Tyrone Taylor, in my opinion. Jonathan Davis, you can just leave in AAA, but Tyrone Taylor, if you can get anything for him, go for it. But I'm gonna say right, and that's where like Hunter Renfroe's being traded is gonna go into the Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff extension fund. Ruiz, Mitchell, Frelick, and Weimer. I'm going to say pick 3 of 4 are going to start next year on the Major League roster.
What about Yelly?
Well, he's locked in, but McCutcheon's also a free agent. Yeah. I don't think Jonathan Davis is going to be back. The Brewers started this year with Lorenzo Cain on the roster, who is obviously gone. And if they trade either or both of Taylor or Renfroe, I mean, I'd be more willing to bet that Churrio's on the roster in 24 than Hunter Renfroe, especially considering he'll be a free agent that year. So I would agree with you on that, Matt. Today's outing, the Brewers were down 4-0 after Eric Lauer gave up a home run, and then he got hurt on that. I just hope Eric Lauer's not hurt, because if the Brewers are going to try to make this push, if they end up losing today, they'll be 3.5 back with 26 games to go. So they're not done, but the way that I'm viewing this is that they're going from coming down the stretch run to do or die. That's the way that I'm looking at it. So they're going from down the stretch to do or die time. Honestly, Taylor, in my mind, you can pen Garrett Mitchell in as a starting center fielder next year.
I'd agree with that.
You pencil it in, or you can write it in ink, I think. The official word on Eric Lauer is left elbow tightness. Obviously, he's a left-handed pitcher, so that's concerning. Hopefully, it's not anything long-term. Yeah. It sucks. I just really hope that he's not hurt, especially a situation where it would potentially cause time next year. Would be even a bigger potential blow. But I don't know. Is there anything that you wanted to throw out about today's game? Obviously, it's not going to be a super fun one to talk about either. But
no, Willie just grounded out to the pitcher, so 2 outs now. Hunter's up. Yelich is on third. No, it's just one of those games. Got to throw it away. We talk about it all the time. They're going to be 3.5 back, as it looks right now. So it's time to go. It's go time. It's time to put your head down, get to work. That's all you can do.
Especially this time of the season. Like there's no other time to sit and be like, yeah, that loss sucks. Like, yeah, we got another 50 games to go or whatever. Like it's as soon as the team loses, got to be out of the mind right away.
Yep.
Sal Frelick, I feel like they've been moving him around. Like I think he's been playing a lot of center field, I think, is his primary. I'm going to pull it up.
Well, my boy Weimer is the right fielder. I know that.
Right. Dude, Joey Weimer is a younger version of Hunter Renfroe. Which
I'm game for that, dude.
Solidifies my point. Dude, he's like exactly the same. They're both power hitters. They both get outfield assists. Like, dude, they're totally...
They both got hair flow.
True. They're like, he's locked in. So, like... it just says outfielder. So I feel like he could pretty much play wherever you needed him to play. Basically, Yelich is going to be locked in left field / DH. Just because he doesn't have the arm to play right field, especially if you have guys that do have the arm to play right field. Says, okay, yeah. Primarily right field in his first 2 years, but handled center field in 2021. Showed strong instincts that showed throughout the season, becoming the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. So that was actually interesting. So basically everywhere for Sal Frelick. Garrett Mitchell's obviously a center fielder. Joey Weimer is a right fielder. Esteury Ruiz, I think, is a center fielder, but he's got super utility potential. I don't think they want to use him on the infield, especially with Colton Long being a free agent. I think Bryce Terang is going to start next year on the Major League roster and potentially be a super utility guy. So I think that's worth there.
We're going to be emptying out the young guys next year onto the Major League roster.
Yeah, I really think so. And this is where, this is what I want to talk about. So let's get out of the game to game and let's just talk about the Brewers. So David Stearns, when he made the Josh Hader trade, put out a quote saying that we want as many bites at the apple. I was talking to somebody on Facebook, I think it was Monday, and I really liked the way that he phrased it. He said the Brewers are in a really unique situation. And I really couldn't agree more because the Brewers are in a situation that they've never been in their franchise history. We dealt with coming into 4 years of consecutive postseason berths, which is obviously raised the expectations that after you've been in the postseason for that long, the next step is to win a World Series or even to get to a World Series.
Yep.
And that hasn't happened. And now the Brewers potentially missing the playoffs.
Yep.
Even if that happens, Matt said before, I agree that Craig Counsell's not getting fired. He is the winningest manager in Brewers history. He is one of 12 active managers with 600-plus wins, and he's done it all with one team. Now, I'm not saying that Craig Counsell is without fault because every manager makes bad decisions. You should see some of the shit that Tony La Russa pulled earlier this year. That was just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
So
that guy's won the World Series.
Exactly. So talking about the bites at the apple thing. So between Taylor, Davis, McCutchen, probably Renfroe, all potentially out of the outfield next year. Yelich is obviously sticking around, and then you're looking at Mitchell, Ruiz, Frelick, and Weimer, and potentially a free agent. Matt said Ruiz and Mitchell can platoon center field next year. I'm totally down for that. What those two bring that the Brewers don't have now with Renfroe, McCutchen, Taylor, speed. And it shows because Garrett Mitchell helped manufacture some runs for the Brewers last night by stealing second base. And then Willy Adames hit a double into the gap that scored him. He's not scoring from first on that double because that double got kind of cut off in the gap. But and the White Sox, yes, that's a situation where they're doing less with more. Their payroll is higher, much higher. I think they're in the top 10 in payroll, actually, and the Brewers are around 19. And yes, the White Sox did have higher expectations. They pretty much should have ran away with the AL Central on paper.
Yeah.
But this is really the first September since 2017 that the Brewers haven't had a good September under Craig Counsell. We call it Craig Timber, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to this season, obviously the offense has left a lot to be desired. Craig Counsell deserves the benefit of the doubt for one season, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people who would disagree and say he pulls his starters too early. And, he pulled Freddie Peralta with a no-hitter, and then he pulled him too early his next start. And then what do you know? Well, Freddie Peralta misses his next start. Guy just came back from an injury. You got to be careful, otherwise you risk injuring them further.
Or more seriously.
Or exactly. And he kind of did that with Hauser a little bit. 2020 doesn't count. Matt, get out of here. 2020 doesn't count.
Yeah, we don't count that.
Such a dumb season. I'm still annoyed at Manfred for that. So with this, we're looking at we'll have some serious discussions and evaluations with Craig Counsell and David Stearns this winter. We're not going to do it now because, like I said, until the Brewers are mathematically eliminated, baseball is baseball and weird shit happens in baseball all the time. So the other thing that I want to address is with Jake and I being the way that we are and running the show the way that we do, where we talk about it all the time, where our goal with our show is to promote positivity and optimism. We know what's going to happen when stuff like last night and today happens. As soon as I open Facebook, I'm going to see fire Counsell. This team sucks. This team's not going anywhere. It seems like, and I know this isn't everybody, and I'm not generalizing people because I hate when people generalize me. It seems like when bad things happen, it's a fucking race to social media to see who can be the first one to complain. And we got to cut that shit out.
Look at people in day-to-day life, dude.
Dude,
Everybody just complains all day.
Like,
all day.
I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, but like, I am so fucking tired of it that it's the first thing that everybody does. It happened in Adrian Hauser's start the other day that the first 6 batters reached, and everybody's like, oh, Adrian Hauser's back to himself. And it's like, he was a good fucking pitcher last year. Last year in early September, he threw a complete game shutout against the Cardinals. But he has a rough first inning. People are like, oh, Adrian Hauser's back to being himself. Typical counsel for bringing Hauser in to start on Freddie Peralta's day. And then he retires 15 straight batters, and the Brewers win the game. So, listen.
We'll knock it off, Matt.
We know the Brewers are struggling. Like, everybody can see it, that the Brewers gave up a big lead. But being the person to run to social media to be the first one to complain, that benefits nobody. And not only does it not benefit anybody, all it does is it hurts people. Like, I'm not saying that people have their lives so attached to the teams that it's going to like actually hurt somebody, but that mindset that people get put in by seeing all that negativity, that just drives in more negativity. That's what Jake and I really want to change.
Are you ready for this? I know why. It's a psychological thing. Because when you're the first one to complain about something, and a long line of a bunch of shitheads that are going to complain with you, you get all those comments, and it makes you feel better about it, that you're not the only one thinking this.
And listen,
that's what it is.
And we know it's frustrating. And that's something that Jake and I got to kind of come to terms and deal with, is how to manage a mentality when our teams aren't playing up to their expectations that were set preseason, during the season, and as the expectations adjust. That's something that we have to adjust to. We haven't really had any of our teams in the 2 years that we've been doing this show have to go through a big rebuild. I think the Brewers are going to kind of go into like a soft rebuild and try to stay competitive, and then do as many bites at the apple thing, like David Stern said. We've had this where the Brewers have made the postseason 4 consecutive times. You know how many other times it's happened in franchise history? 0. Before 2018, it was 7 years since the Brewers were in the playoffs in 2011. Before that, it was 3 years in 2008. Before that, it was before we were born that the Brewers were in the playoffs. The Brewer fans were happy to make the playoffs in 2008, happy to make the playoffs in 2011, and then we went 7 years with no playoffs. And I know that it's not a situation where you only want to be happy with making the playoffs. But the Brewers have had a pretty competitive team over the last 5 years.
There is something to say for that, man. And it goes along with our statement of enjoying the ride during the season. That's the point you were trying to make?
Yes.
And you still enjoy the ride. It's not over. We still got plenty of ride left. 26 games. It's a lot of innings when you multiply it by 9. And the Brewers apparently like to play extra innings like every 3 days. So you get an extra inning every 3 days. It's a lot more innings.
That is a lot of innings.
To think about it, really, when you take all the Wisconsin teams, the one consistent team, and I might get killed for this, the best team in this state right now is probably the Bucks.
I agree.
In the league. In their league.
I agree.
Then it would be the Packers.
Yep.
This is where then I'd probably pick Badgers football. I think Badgers football is probably better than the Brewers. And the Brewers and Badgers basketball are probably pretty close. Where, like, I didn't expect the Brewers to fucking go to the World Series and win the goddamn thing. I'm going to be honest with you. But I expect them to be in the playoffs and fight for it. I mean, they're in a position that I thought they would be close to anyways. The Badgers, basketball, they're probably going to be somewhere from a 3 seed to a 6 seed. They're going to win a lot of games. They're going to win games they shouldn't, just like you said before. They're going to lose games that they shouldn't, like you said before. And that's just how Badgers basketball has been for as long as I can remember. Badgers football,
they're going to be ranked in the teens. I guarantee it the entire season. Guaranteed.
If Graham Mertz, who I thought looked fucking phenomenal, and we're going to get into that, he made some throws, dude. I'm serious. He made some throws where I'm just like, well, hold on, Graham Mertz. Are you grown up now? You have a grown up arm now.
Now that I've got my rant out there, that, like I said, being the person to run to social media to complain first, all it does is it just adds negativity. We know there's going to be negative people out there. That's something that Jake and I hope to be able to change. Is, like I said, when you put that negativity out, all that's doing is adding more negativity that somebody else can see. And I'm not saying you need to suffer in silence because, that's part of what sports is all about, and being fans of the same teams, that it can be a unifying thing, which is one of the beautiful things about sports, in my opinion. It's one of those things that transcends beyond playing a game, and we're actually talking about bringing people together. And that's what Jake and I want to do, but we want to do it in a positive way, not in rallying around, the hindsight of the Brewers blowing a game and then blaming the manager.
Okay, well, now I got to answer some people. First of all, Matt, is Aaron Rodgers the best player in the NFL? Yes, maybe. He's definitely top 3. Who's the best player in basketball? It's Giannis. Now, compare their ages. Rodgers is what, 37? Giannis is 27. That means we have 10 years of goddamn dominance. Okay? That's what I think. Dad, I love you, but that title game was 7 years ago. It's a long time ago. I was 23 then. I'm not 23 anymore. I'm 30 now. Okay?
Lily wasn't born when I was watching that title game.
Sam Decker has played in like 5 different leagues since that title game.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. I mean, he played in the NBA, the GD League, because it was the D League or G League when he was in there. And then he played for like Russia, and then now he plays for somebody else.
Didn't he play in Italy last year?
He played for Toronto last year, I thought.
I think he was in Washington for a little bit of last year too.
Yeah, well, he's been bouncing all over the place.
Right.
And a title or 2 more. I'm not saying that the thing about college basketball that's difficult is like a team from nowhere can just win like 4 games and all of a sudden like that's a great season.
It's harder for college basketball, college football, and NFL because there's only a 1 game series.
That's a good point. He caught me.
It's all 1 game series.
I did say that, so he caught me.
But that's all 1 game series. One bad game and you're out. 1 bad game in a basketball series like the Bucks had against the Bulls, and they still win in 5. It's, to me, I'm going to go with the Bucks just because they have the most recent championship, and I do think there's more players in the NFL because there's 53 on a roster, and there's only 18 on a roster in the NBA.
Way more variables in the NFL.
It's harder to put a guy unanimously at the best player in the league, where I think you can pretty unanimously put Giannis at the best player in the NBA.
The only thing I'm saying about Rodgers, you win 2 MVPs in a row. I mean, you
would
Giannis think that guy's the best, unless the players are voting and they all want to kiss Tom Brady because they're jealous of his son or something. I don't know.
That's weird.
You hear all the stuff going on with him?
No, the Bane rumor that I've heard is that he was on The Masked Singer in somewhere.
I heard, I don't know if this is true, this is total rumor, but I heard that the reason he was gone for that whole time of the preseason because his wife is pissed that he went back to the NFL. I was like, yeah, she's mad because he's still kissing
Can you imagine being a 45-year-old, like, 100 millionaire and still having to be like, your wife's pissed at you because you're going to do it?
Oh, dude. I want to say some inappropriate stuff, but I'm not going to. But I just channeling my dad right now. Didn't say
more consistent as of late. I mean,
more consistent team has been the Bucks. If you think of it that way, the Bucks have made the playoffs how many years in a row now? I think the Bucks have made the playoffs more years than the Packers, haven't they?
The Bucks have been in the playoffs every year since like 2016.
Yeah, and the Packers missed in 18 and 19. Or no, right. 17, 18.
17, 18.
17, 18.
Yeah, because they went 13, 13, 13 wins. So
yeah, so the last 3 years. Yeah, but then you think about playoff success. How many playoff wins have we won in the last 3 years?
Right.
And you think of the Bucks, and you could take games, obviously, but take series.
Yep.
The Bucks have won more series.
Right.
And that's not just against the cupcake teams. That's up against the higher competition.
Well, yeah, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019, just like the Packers were in the NFC Championship games.
Yep.
Like we were just talking about recently, as far as who's king of Wisconsin sports right now.
I would say
like
the
I said,
Bucks are the Kings. Yeah. I mean, I know the Packers get the views and all that stuff, and like,
right.
Trust me, I love the Packers more than I love the Bucks, and it's not to say that I don't love the Bucks because I love the Bucks. But yes, the Packers are the Kings with the ratings, but if we're talking the better team right now in their league, like you judge them based on their league, I would say the Bucks are higher up on the echelon for the NBA than the Packers are. Packers were ranked like 6th. Bucks are like 3rd in the NBA.
let me put this scenario to you. I hand you $100 bill and I say that you have to put $100 on a team to win their championship. Do you put it on the Bucks or the Packers?
Oh, Bucks easily. I'm betting on Giannis. That might be true with Brady. Maybe he told her and the kids he was done. And also, you two laugh. Be away as much as professional sports and see how easy it is. Listen, man. If I'm going to be making all that goddamn money and I'm putting my body on the line for 20-some years, I don't care what my wife says. And I hope she's upstairs watching right now. Because I don't care. If I'm making all that money, you ain't allowed to say nothing to me.
The weird thing with Brady is that his wife makes more money than he does.
Dude, he doesn't even wear the own pants in his house, dude. That's crazy. God, that guy. You know, I think I hate him because I'm a little bit jealous. Like, he makes all that money, but
yeah.
he still doesn't make more than his wife. You know, and like that's kind of a dream. Like, think about, I've always like been thought weird of those guys that are like, oh, my wife makes more than me. It's weird. Like, why is that weird, dude? That's fucking awesome. Like, you guys are supposed to be a team, you know? Like, dude, if Chantel's out there making freaking $80K, I wouldn't give a shit. That would be dope as hell, you know? I'm not gonna be one of those weirdos that's like, oh, that hurts my masculinity, you know? He said,
dude,
he makes more.
I'll be a stay-at-home dad. I don't know.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd be a stay-at-home dad too. You got me. See, my dad said it. Christine makes more than my dad, but
that'd be like, dude, if you let's say our wives both get like $100K a year salary jobs, and me and you can be full-time podcasters, like, fuck yeah.
I'll do the dishes.
Totally in.
I'm wiping ass all day, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, man. I mean, do you want to do a power pair with the Brewers, or do we just kind of want to move on from that?
We could just run through it. I picked Peterson and Milner. Let's leave it at that.
I didn't pick a position player. Just it's a different guy every game. Like, Hunter Renfroe had an 11-game hitting streak. Willie Adames had a really good game yesterday. Christian Yelich hit the freaking longest home run of the season yesterday. And then I picked Adrian Hauser for my pitcher, just because I really wanted to give him credit for having a really rough first inning in the first game of that Rockies series, and then settling down in a major way and retiring 15 straight batters and pitching 2 innings out of the bullpen last week.
You know, the most impressive thing is he dealt with those Facebook scouts very well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm calling them from now on. Facebook scouts.
Facebook scouts.
Yep.
Scout, I think, is a term that's got a respect to it. So I think we got to pick something else.
See, that's why I
like,
said it.
Like we say armchair GMs, and just the word armchair like puts a bad taste in your mouth because you know it's people being stupid.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll come up with something.
I'll have to think. I don't want to be like rude and hurt somebody's feelings, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Nice. So, obviously, like I said, if the Brewers lose today, they'll be 3.5 back with 26 to go. They're not done until they're done. But doubleheader tomorrow. It's going to be Burns and Peralta. Friday through Sunday, they're home against the Reds. And then they're off Monday. And then they have Tuesday and Wednesday at St. Louis. And then they're actually off next Thursday. So they get 2 off days next week after playing like a shit ton of games this week. So they lost 8-4, by the way. I just checked. Okay. It feels repetitive to say it, but it's like, the Brewers can build some momentum here. If the Brewers can win 2 tomorrow and potentially 2 or 3 against Cincinnati this weekend, which totally in the cards, the Brewers can still build some momentum. I don't think that there is a lot of confidence in Philadelphia or in San Diego right now that they're locking in a playoff, a playoff spot.
I mean, they're thinking the baseball guys that we keep losing.
Right. So, it's not like we're even playing for 1 playoff spot. It's potentially 2 playoff spots. True. With San Diego and Philadelphia being so close. Obviously, we have to get above them because they hold both of the tiebreakers. But, it's not over till it's over. And you're not going to catch Jake and I tilting, saying the Brewers are done before they're actually done.
No, my daughter's mad. I don't know if anybody else can hear that, but she's pissed upstairs. Must have took something away from her.
All right. So we can switch to the not so heavy content, and I won't go on any more rants.
Tim,
save that shit for Friday.
Do I play him, or does he play you, or like what's going on here, man? Who are you talking to,
I don't
Tim?
know.
You
He's
talking
excited.
to me? You
I
talking
think
to
I play. I
Tyler?
think I play Kim, not Tim. So maybe he's got to be playing
Go,
against Tim.
Tyler.
Tim is really excited.
Go, Tyler. I'm mad at Kim. Kim, I'm mad at you. Took all my players. I play Ed Lopez.
Oh, you play Ed. Ed was watching earlier. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but Ed was watching earlier. So like I said, we can switch. Tim, save all that NFL energy for Friday night. This is college today. Friday night is NFL night.
It is.
It's officially NFL night.
Oh, I don't know who to cheer for. I like both of
Tim
them.
plays Simon.
I like Tim and Simon. I don't know who to cheer for. I'll cheer for Tim just so I could pick on Simon.
I'm going to cheer for a matchup between those two that comes down to like a Monday night catch in garbage time.
Oh, that would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that would be awesome. And it'd be like a 39-yarder because you get bonuses for 40-yard touchdowns. So it'd be like a 39-yard touchdown and then somebody loses by like a point. I'm petty that way because I'm not in that matchup. All right. Yeah, Taylor. Next year, I think we're going to run two. I think we're going to run 2 10-player leagues next year. We had just the 1 12-player league this year, but there was a lot of interest. So I think next season we're going to probably try to run 2 leagues connected to the show. And hopefully we keep growing to the point that there's 18 other interested people that want to do it. So, all right. You ready to switch to football mode? Like, it really feels like now that there's a Packer game on Sunday that it's really getting into football season. Like, there's a football game tomorrow night. And exactly. See, Matt's cheering for chaos because he's not in it. Matt, you should be in it next year because you pay attention to the show a lot.
Before we start this, before I forget, I do want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So who do you have winning tomorrow night? Bills,
Buffalo.
Rams. You have Buffalo?
Yeah.
Buffalo going on the road opening night. Rams are all geeked up in front of their fans.
I don't give a shit about the Rams.
I don't give a shit about the Rams either. And you know what? I keep telling my father-in-law, because he's a big Rams fan. He was really happy. I poked fun at him a couple weeks ago. I was like, you know what?
Bills by 40.
I was like, if the Bengals would have had one guy be able to block, the Bengals would have won the Super Bowl because Ramsey got absolutely torched on that last play.
Dude, the fact that people keep putting Jalen Ramsey above Jair Alexander for whatever reason, I don't get it because like Jalen Ramsey is a very good cornerback 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time, he gets absolutely cooked.
It must be the same people that think Trayvon Diggs is good.
Bro, don't even get me fucking started on Trayvon Diggs. Don't. Say that shit for Friday. I told you I wasn't going to go on another rant. Don't fucking bring up Trayvon Diggs right now.
All right. That's it. I'm going to put it in the group. Everyone bring up Trayvon Diggs at least one time during the show.
I don't even give a shit. Do it on Friday when we're talking about the NFL. We're talking about college right now. And I am still annoyed. Damn it. I said I wasn't going to go on another rant. But I'm annoyed that the Badgers win a game 38-0 and move down a spot in the rankings.
Yeah.
What the hell?
The Bengals and Rams were just lucky.
Bengals and Rams were luckier. It could have easily been Buccaneers, Bills, Packers, Bills, 49ers, Bills. It wasn't going to be the Cowboys, despite Cowboys telling you every August that it's their year.
I shared that meme today of all the crying fans at the game last year. I was like, it's football season. I was like, hell yeah, it is, baby. I got you, Jake. Thanks, buddy. So here's the thing I'm going to say to Matt. The Rams were not luckier. The Rams went to Tampa Bay, and they handled the defending Super Bowl champions. The Packers were at home, and I don't mean to say it like this, but they punted their chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Come on, man. You had to use that word, really?
That's what they did.
You're such a dick.
It's exactly what they did. They punted their chance to go to the Super Bowl because we all know the circle of dominance the last couple of years. The Rams own the Buccaneers own the Packers own the Rams. That's just how it works, okay? I'm sorry. The Rams have been really good against the Buccaneers.
It's annoying that the 49ers own the Packers, but it's really funny that the entire NFL owns the Rams or owns the 49ers after they own the Packers.
Yeah, I know. That's hilarious. Like, we own you. They were lucky because they didn't have to. Yeah, you know what? If we would have played the Rams, I really feel like we would have went to the Super Bowl.
I agree. All right, let's talk about the Badgers. So let's do some recap about the Badgers offense and defense, and then let's do our 3 stars. So let's start with some recap. Do you want to do offense or defense first?
Defense, because it was worse, actually, in my opinion.
It was really weird. So like I feel like a weird seesaw situation here where like I feel like the defense started off on a high note, then
Mm-hmm.
obviously they got backed way up until Torchio had the pick six.
Yeah.
And then they kind of progressively got a little bit worse as the game went on. And I feel
Uh-huh.
like the opposite about like the offense and the offensive line, where like the offensive line looked kind of shaky in the first quarter and then kind of got better as the game went on. But let's talk about the defense.
Badgers by 42, and they moved down 3 spots or something.
Damn it, Matt.
Well, here's the first thing I'm going to say. They call these games tune-up games, okay? So,
we got 3. That's it.
yeah, we're playing Illinois State, so it wasn't like I was looking for, like, a major, like, a couple haymakers happening. But defense, so we gave up 243 total yards, 186 passing yards, and 57 rushing yards. The 186 passing yards is kind of concerning. They killed us in that like mid-range.
The
so
screen,
like,
dude, they like screens, dude.
He looked good on a couple of mid-range passes too, like the 10 to 15 area down the sideline. We did force 2 turnovers, and we did hold them to 3 for 11 on third down. So that's positive. That's stuff that you can build on.
That's good stuff.
Get them off the field. They were 0 for 0 on fourth down because they didn't go for one.
Right.
But the 186 passing yards, I'm not super concerned about it, but it's something that we could definitely work on.
It's something we're going to have to talk about when we get into our preview. But
yeah, and the 57 rush yards, that's another day at the office for the Badgers defense.
Mm-hmm. Under 100 rushing yards is pretty much what you expect at this point. Yeah. Even with a lot of unknowns at linebacker, which Jake and I were kind of talking about it as we started the show. We're not going to have a lot of what to improve until we get a couple games in, just because there's so much identity questions to answer about the Badgers. And that's when probably right before the Ohio State game, we'll be able to talk about what to improve and how to improve it. And that's, like I said, we get 3, like Jake said, tune-up games, and that's it. That being said, Torchio did get a sack on a safety blitz early in this game, which was cool to see. It did look like the Badgers were susceptible to some screens. And I'm glad that I called this out when we did the Badger Primer last Wednesday with Mike, that I called John Torchio a ball hawk. And then he goes and gets a 100-yard pick six as a school record. I'm like, oh, yeah, there we go. Thank you for proving me right, Torchio. I'm going to do the same thing when we talk about offense, too, just because I'm going to throw that out there. Did you notice that starting the second quarter that the Badgers' second-team defense was in?
Oh, no, I didn't notice that, actually.
So the second quarter, the first, I don't know if it was the first play because it was the first play for sure, but I don't remember how many plays all the guys stayed in. But it's like, was the defense getting chewed out? Like the first team defense getting chewed out? And then obviously we deal with the third quarter, Hunter Waller getting hurt, which sucks.
Yeah.
That was one of Mikey's guys that he brought up last week. He's not listed on the depth chart this week. So probably not going to have Hunter Waller this week. But I will say the Badgers defense did really well at rallying to the ball. So once, Illinois State started completing a lot of those screen passes and a lot of those, outside runs, that the first guy there wasn't the only one trying to make tackles. It was 2, 3, 4, 5 guys there all rallying to the ball. That is encouraging to see. That's Badger football.
I just want to show this picture of Torchio. This picture goes hard, bro. This picture goes hard, man.
Love it.
That's sick. Look at all the fans, bro. Like,
love it.
I saw that photo. I was like, yeah, I'm saving that. That was sick.
Almost as cool as Johnny Davis waving bye to Michigan State.
Yeah, that was fucking sick.
That was badass as hell.
Yeah.
I need to get that on the wall somewhere.
Yeah,
that was badass. Matt said the Badgers win by 42 and move down 3 spots.
Wouldn't shock me.
God, Wisconsin sports as a whole just gets so disrespected. As a whole, if we're talking NFL, NBA, MLB, and college football and basketball, you're damn hard pressed to find a group as competitive as Wisconsin's been. Just throwing that out there. If we had an NHL team, I'm sure it'd be competitive too. Just because. Dude, Rasul waving to the crowd in Arizona was badass too. especially given the fact that he was cut from Arizona's practice squad.
Circumstances.
Exactly.
And that we were on a short week, no wide receivers. They were undefeated, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was sick. I will say my favorite moment from Rasul, though, is after he had the pick 6 against the Bears. And, like, I feel like that was, like, his moment. Like, this is really how I feel. That was his moment where he realized, like, all his hard work was paying off. And, like, the scream he let out, I know in his soul that shit felt so fucking good, man. You could tell. That is, like, a cool photo to me. Like, Rasul just, like, going crazy. That one is a little bit better for me than the Arizona one.
Let's flip it over to the offense, and let's talk about the Badgers' offense.
Okay. Badgers' offense, 440 total yards, so 200 more total yards, 219 passing, so pretty good game. And 221 rushing. So that, like I said about the rushing defense, that's another day at the office. Zero turnovers.
Like stat line. That is
Zero turnovers.
Yes.
4 for 9 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down. Those are all positives to build off of. This is why I said, man, I was watching Graham Mertz and I'm like, made a couple big boy throws. And I'm like, okay, Graham.
He made some real big boy throws. Like the one that stuck out to me. So Graham Mertz finished this game. What was he, 13 for 15? 14 for 16? Something like that?
14 for 16.
Okay, he could have easily been 15 for 16. Because in the first quarter, it was 3rd and 4. Graham Mertz stayed in the pocket, got just annihilated, threw a good throw. It hit Marcus Allen in the hands, and he dropped it. That could have easily been a 15 for 16 game, like when we get into the pandemic year, and Graham Mertz is playing against Illinois. Coincidentally, now he's playing against Illinois State. And he started, 17 for 17, and he finished like 19 of 21 in that game. And we're like, is this the Graham Mertz coming out game? So now we're getting a second flash of that.
Well, we have a real offensive coordinator this time.
We do. Like. And he's, and I said this to, I think it might have been Jeff Petrikis that tweeted about it. And I commented on it. And I'm like, I really feel like Paul Chryst is a good coach. He was just wearing too many hats last year. Yeah. And I've said that, and I'm just going to keep saying it because that's what I do. I just repeat things that I say.
I mean, if it's true, then I would too. The thing about the new offensive coordinator is like this guy's been in like the NFL. He's been in NFL locker room, so like he understands like that next level, and he understands how to connect with different people, and different people have different coaching styles. That's what we've tried to say in here before. So maybe he's able to get through it, Graham, and maybe Graham will have a consistent year. I will say the first 3 games, we're probably going to gas him up a little bit because he's going to be playing good. He's going to be playing against some lower competition. That Ohio State game, and Jesus, this schedule, man, when I saw it, when it first came out, it was like, okay, shit team. All right, who do we get when we get into conference play? Oh, we're going on the road to Ohio State. We're just going to jump right into it, huh?
Yeah, well, and then it's like 1 home game, 2 road games, 1 home game, 2 road games. It's like, all right, cool.
Head first, baby. Let's go. So, I mean, that Ohio State game is really, really going to be one that'll be like a real test where we can really grade how far Graham Mertz is. It will be nice having these first 3 games, though.
Right.
Not to get ahead of ourselves. We're still focusing on Illinois State right now, but it'll be nice to have these first 3 games to get his feet wet and like realize, game situations and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'll dual Stroud when we beat Ohio State, book it. Then we drop out of the top 25.
Matt is fully committing to the 38-0 win, move down a spot in the ranking. So,
to be fair, Ohio State moved down and they beat Notre Dame.
That's true. Florida, what did Florida go from like 20th to 13th or something like that?
Yeah, who the hell did they beat? I forgot.
Like a nobody school.
No, they beat somebody. They played somebody. God damn it. I watched the highlights. That game was actually exciting.
All right. I'm going to go back to talking about the offense while Jake pulls that up because Braylon Allen looked pretty good. Mike called out that outside of his 96-yard touchdown run, which he displayed really good patience on, that he was about 13 for 52, which is about 4 yards a carry, which isn't what you would expect from Wisconsin running back. But it is still a first down if you run every play like it feels like the Badgers do at times. Ches Malusi actually showed some good vision out of the backfield, which I thought was good to see. You get that combo running back. And then I liked seeing Isaac Guerrero on the kick returns. Like, he's got that speed. Yeah. So I really like that role for Isaac Guerrero.
I thought he was going to break one there, man.
Dude, DK was so close. I'm like, DK rips off a 74-yard reception. Like, the DB was just a little bit faster than him. I'm like, damn it, if DK could have scored a touchdown on that, it would be a really good start to my bold prediction of 10-plus touchdowns for Kimmeray DK this year. And then he did end up scoring on that possession. So he finished with 3 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown. He was one of my 3 stars. Just because, like, I've been locked on to Kimmeray DK since last season. He was one of the guys that I was watching, but he was just kind of stuck behind Kendrick Pryor and Danny Davis. This year, as far as wide receivers are concerned, Kimmeray DK has the keys to the car.
Yep.
And I'm really excited, and I hope he builds on this week. So Kimmeray DK was one of my 3 stars. My other 2 were Braylon Allen. He ripped off the 96-yard touchdown run. Like I said, displayed some really good patience on that play. He broke some tackles, which a guy of his size you would expect to happen at least once in a while. And then I went with John Torchio just because he had the sack, he had the pick 6, and he's going to have even more responsibility on him with Hunter Wohler injured. So he's going to be needed to do basically everything you would expect out of a safety and probably some more. So I want to give those 3 guys, those are my 3 stars.
First of all, I found the Utah stuff. Oh, Utah. I just gave away the answer. Florida played Utah. Utah was number 7. Florida was unranked.
Yep. Okay.
Florida was unranked.
To go to unranked to number 13?
12. They're number 12 now.
Jesus Christ.
They're number 12, and they play number 20 Kentucky this week. Kentucky is ranked 1
I actually kind of like Kentucky.
I know. They've been getting good at football. We talked about that.
I think we have. Yep. We have.
What's up, Simon? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Simon, I just want to throw out there, Tim's talking a lot of shit in the comments. If you want to scroll up and go find him.
Yeah, he's talking shit about you, Simon. So my 3 stars, I went with
starting
Braylon
the
Allen.
Fight to drive up our comments.
Braylon Allen had the school record 96-yard touchdown run. And like you said, he still averaged the first down every carry. So there's that. I went John Torchio, school record, 100-yard pick 6. That was really the play that jump-started, the team, jump-started the fans. The crowd got into it. So it kind of got us rolling. That was probably the biggest play of the game, in my opinion. And then I had DK, 74-yard reception off the screen pass. He just gets those high knees, like Aaron Rodgers said, he would have been gone. But he, like you said, he did end up getting a touchdown. That was a really nice pass, by the way.
It was.
That was right on the money.
I thought for sure the way you were talking about, you were going to have Graham Mertz in your 3 stars.
No, but I didn't want to go too crazy with Graham Mertz, but just saying that he played really, really well. And he made some really good passes. Like there was a play, God damn it, who was it to? I don't remember. Might have been DK actually. But there was a wide receiver. There was 2 split out to the left, and he ran a little out route, little go route out, and called it a flag route. And he just drops it right in a fucking breadbasket. And even the announcers that were calling the game, and yes, they were weirdos, and they were definitely humping each other in that booth. I don't care what anybody says.
That was weird.
Not worried about Tim's whack ass team.
I told you we're gonna start a fight in the comments section just to drive up our comments on this week's video.
Fight. But even the announcers upstairs, after that pass, they're like, "Whoa, that was a good throw." And I'm thinking, like, yeah, that was a nice one. That one had touch, had a little bit of zip. It was on time. I mean, everything about that play was fantastic. So I think Graham Mertz is laying down the building blocks.
Yeah, he was asked about the screen to DK after the game. He said that was a new wrinkle from the offensive coordinator Ingram, and he said there's a few more wrinkles coming. So, like, I'm getting all hot and bothered just waiting for play action. Like, just put a shit ton of play action. I don't even care if you don't throw a single regular pass. You can hand the ball off 40 times and do play action every other time. I don't even care if you don't do a normal drop back. Like, James is itching to fight with some Falcons fans. I don't think we have any.
Why do you like fighting with Falcons fans so much, man?
Matt's laughing at me saying hot and bothered. I love play action, Matt. I am who I am.
I love play action too. And the Badgers, we've talked about this before, have the perfect offense to run play action.
And you can get Mertz out in some space and let him have some room to throw and not feel like he's getting claustrophobic in the pocket or getting tripped by Braylon Allen, which sucks that it happened, but it happens once in a while.
Simon, you got to come on the camera in a couple days, buddy. Tim's just gonna roast you for buying his phone.
Yeah, Matt, I totally agree too. Packers can run a shit ton of play action too. Rodgers is best in the league at throwing off balance and throwing off of 1 foot.
Matt, I don't know if you tuned into our bonus episode where we talked about formations in football. We talked a lot about the 21, 22, the 12 personnel. Yeah, we talked about a lot of play action out of those sets. I really believe that
Yep.
they're going to run a lot more play action. The reason that they didn't run 21 personnel a lot more last year is because I don't think they trusted Dylan to the point where they trusted Williams the year before. Now they know where Dylan is. They know that he can handle the catching, he can handle the blocking, and he can run inside outside. So now I'm expecting a lot more 21 personnel, which means more play action, which means more Robert Tonyan, which means Jake Smart. Let's go.
Also means that a lot of teams could potentially be paying attention to A.J. Dillon in the play action game and Aaron Jones being on the field at the same time and having Aaron Jones running some routes.
Yeah, that too.
And James, I know you're excited to get against the Falcons, but I mean, if you were a Falcons fan right now, would you be out and about?
That's true.
Like they're probably like what 30th in power rankings right now.
I mean, James,
Maybe 29th.
I know you see the few Bears fans that are in prime, but are they smart? I don't want to say that they're dumb, but the head nod kind of gives it away.
It just goes back to I have yet to come across a pleasant Chicago fan.
Nah.
Yeah. And yes, Pat, I know if you're a true fan, but let's be honest, how many true fans are out there on social media?
Nope.
Like there are some, but the much louder voices you're going to hear from the idiots. Not saying that everybody that has a loud voice is an idiot, but it tends to be a lot of situations where the person just tries to win an argument by talking louder, not by actually having some factual basis to the point that they're trying to make.
Somebody said they wouldn't want Giannis. That is purely out of spite because he's mad. He's mad. He's mad. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want the best player in the league in his prime. Yeah, seems like a smart decision.
Especially on a team with a really good passing point guard. Whatever.
Yeah, teach their own, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you played football in a really small college. You probably know football. Yeah. Just like I'm sure LeVar Ball has a lot of respect in the basketball world.
Good day, mates. Hey, Jared.
I think Jared is in Australia, I think. He's a friend of James's. He's a Giants fan.
Normally tune in, but I had nothing to do. Wow, you came to the right spot. We didn't have anything to do either.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm sure he does use the term. He just runs and dunks. Probably just calls him a bulldozer. He says he just runs people over. But, this is, okay, really quick. Here's the thing. People don't like Giannis's game because he's just a bulldozer and he just run and dunks. Like, A, because he's stronger than everybody. B, because he's one of the best finishers in the league at the rim. But those same people will bitch and complain that we don't have the same physicality that we did in the 90s and then bash Giannis's play style.
Yeah, dude, Giannis.
Just pick one.
Giannis would fit in with the 90s.
Yeah. Okay. He's from Australia. He lives in Tennessee. Okay.
I'm not trying to be mean, but do you just go up to people and call them mates? Because that's fucking awesome. I wish I had enough balls to do that. What up, mate? How you doing, mate? Like people
you can't say what up, mate. You got to say g'day, mate.
You have to say g'day? Why can't I say what up? I like what up. It's more laid back.
What up, mate? Yeah, it's because you're American.
American?
Exactly. You're not American. You're American. And yes, Matt, Giannis would dominate in any era. Jared said I 100% do. Simon calls the other people the other Australian word. No, just Carl Urban out here. All right, let's talk about the Badgers offense against Washington State's defense for Saturday.
All right, let me flip her over here. All right, so Washington State's defense, they played Idaho, by the way. They won 24-17 against Idaho, if that tells you anything.
Not much.
They gave up 358 yards, 215 passing yards, 143 rush yards, and allowed 6 of 13 on third down. This is also a good note. They allowed Idaho to win the time of possession. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Figured it out by myself. Idaho won the time of possession 36-35. Flip her over, huh?
Simon noticed it too. You said it, and I'm like, God damn it.
Simon, you have a whole girlfriend in your house, man, and you still talk like this?
Dude, I laugh every time you say the word 69. Let's not act like we don't.
Because that has to happen. You know, that's like in my brain.
We're just children.
You're 6, Simon.
All right.
Right in the middle of me making a good point, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, now everybody's going to forget, and it's just going to turn into a 69 joke like it always does. All right, so looking at the Badgers offense, I'm looking at Graham Mertz. Like I said, he was 14 of 16. Could have, Jared said 69 is universal. Could have easily been 15 for 16. Like I said, that pass hit Marcus Allen in the hands, and I think that could have been there. I'm looking forward to seeing what potential quote-unquote new wrinkle is coming, whether they open it up or not. Yeah, Simon, that's all right. And women just universally roll their eyes at us for laughing at dumb shit. So the other thing I'm looking at is Braylon Allen and Ches Malusa. They both looked good. They're still going to be leaned on heavily. Like Graham Mertz only threw 16 passes in week 1. They don't anticipate more than 22 max. Unless this evolves into a shootout, which we'll talk when we flip over. Not what I said. I said it differently. And then I'm looking at Kimmeray DK again. Like I said, I predicted 10 plus touchdowns for him as one of my bold predictions. If he can just stack a touchdown every week, that'll be 12 touchdowns, and I'll be right on one of my bold predictions. So, Washington State, like Jake said, did allow 212 passing yards last week. The Badgers have the running backs to build up rushing yards as well. And this is, again, where I get into a situation where it's like, please run, play, action. I really don't know outside of Wisconsin if there's a better team more equipped to run good play action than the Badgers. So, that's what I'm looking at for the offense. Jared said he remembers the dumbest things. He's asked James what the American version of "Good Day, Mate" would be, and then remembers that Americans speak English. Yep. Yes, we do.
That goes, what up, man?
Jake says what up.
What up, guy?
So let's go to Badgers defense versus Washington State's offense.
Yes, Matt. Tyler already said that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Washington State, they had a total of 274 yards. So if they only had 274 versus Idaho, you know what I'm saying? 212 passing yards, and they had 62 rushing yards. So, I mean, not great. It is what it is. But I think the Badgers, really what I think is going to happen is we're going to pound the fucking rock about 35, 40 times. We're going to impose our 400,000-pound offensive line over their probably tiny defensive line. Washington State's one of those schools where they'll have like one good defensive player like every 5 years that hits the NFL draft. So the Badgers are just bigger, better. They're going to run the ball. We're going to dominate time of possession, and we're going to win the game.
That was what I was going to say. They're going to try to keep Washington State's offense off the field. Yeah, Matt, we kind of ran through the recaps of the games kind of quickly because we wanted to talk more about the nuanced stuff.
We needed more context,
Matt. Yeah, the attitude towards the teams and stuff. And obviously everybody's salty about the games, and we knew that going into it. So like, we're not trying to gloss over the bad stuff, but we wanted to discuss the context and the way that we want to move forward, knowing that we were dealing with a rough situation with the Brewers. We just kind of wanted to talk about more of the fan base and some of the stuff that we're going to get into in the off season when it comes to evaluations and stuff. So, yes, we did throw that out there, and it probably happened really quick. So, all right. So looking for the Badgers defense against Washington State's offense, Washington State's probably going to pass the ball way more than Illinois State did. Washington State's quarterback Cam Ward threw 40 passes last week, threw for 215 and 3 touchdowns. The Badgers are actually going against a former Badger, Nakia Watson. He had 18 carries for 117 yards last week. Basically, what I'm looking for with the Badgers defense is to keep contain and just get to the quarterback. because Cam Ward will run. He had 5 rushing attempts last week for 18 yards. It doesn't jump off the page, but what it does show you that 5 rushing attempts is that he's willing to run.
Extend drives.
Right. So that's what I'm looking for, is just for the Badgers to get to the quarterback like they do. My man Nick Herbig had his sack last week on the second possession. And then for not committing penalties, the Badgers had a 3rd and 26 last week, committed a penalty, and then gave up a conversion on the 3rd and 13. That was one of the third down conversions that the Badgers allowed last week. That was in the first quarter, thankfully. Maybe that's what they were getting yelled at the start of the second quarter. So I'm looking for containing the quarterback and then just getting to the quarterback, rallying to the ball, not letting Cam Ward get comfortable. He was 25 of 40 last week. That's a lot of passes.
Yeah.
And now without Hunter Wohler in the game as well. So that'll be important to keep an eye on. So let's go to an X factor and a key to victory. So give me your X factor.
All right. So my X factor on offense is going to be Mertz. I'm going to look for him to stack a good performance on top of another one. The Idaho quarterback, I should have wrote down the entire stats, but he actually had a pretty decent day. When I was looking at the stats, I was like, Idaho quarterback looked pretty good against them. So there's no saying that Graham Mertz can't as well. On defense, I have Herb. He needs to get pressure. I think he's a guy that could totally wreck a game. I think this is a game that he could wreck. This is one of those games where you look back at the end of the year and you're like, oh my God, he has 18 sacks and he has 3 of them in this game, you know? So this is one of those games for him. So he has to wreak havoc in the backfield, and that'll take keys of victory, but I'll wait till your X factor.
So with the offense, I'm going to go with the tight end group.
Okay.
The tight ends, like it felt like each one of them made like one solid play with Clay Cundiff. I think it's Jake Eschenbach, and then it's, I believe, Hayden Rucci. There's 2 Ruccis on the team. One of them's a tight end and one of them's a lineman.
Offensive lineman. Yeah.
I think the offensive lineman is Nolan, and I think the tight end is Hayden.
The offensive lineman is better too. He was like a 5-star recruit.
Yeah. I think they're from Wisconsin too, actually.
Yeah. Well, he's like 6'8", 340. So yeah.
That's all. He's Wisconsin or Iowa. Those are your options.
Yeah, they come right out of the cornfield.
I forgot that we brought that up last week. So I'm looking at the tight end room. We talked about it in the primer last week that we don't really have a clear cut, a Jake Ferguson. I mentioned that not knowing what Clay Cundiff's injury last year was. Obviously, he was playing. He made a couple plays. With not a lot of throws coming from Graham Mertz, the tight ends are going to need to basically make a play once a game. And we'll see if one of those 3 can emerge as a trusted target for Graham Mertz. Obviously, my guy Kimmeray DK is going to be active and involved. And then on the defensive side, I'm going with John Torchio. With Hunter Wohler being injured, obviously that elevates his importance as far as safeties. I'm looking at the Badgers tight ends, Matt. I know what you're getting at. I am. All right. And then looking at the cornerbacks. So we have the 3 transfers at cornerback for the Badgers. Made some good plays at times, were a little shaky at other times. Against a passing team like Washington State, John Torchio is going to have the opportunity to be the ball hawk that I know he is, and that he showed he is in the Illinois State game. So those are my 2 X factors for the Badgers.
All right. So I already gave one of my keys to victory. It's that the O-line is going to absolutely manhandle the front 7 of Washington State. I'm looking for the Badgers to rush for over 300 yards this week. That's one of my predictions. I think Braylon Allen's going to come out. He's a guy that expects a lot of himself, so he's going to be upset with his performance. Not saying that he played bad, but he's going to expect him. He's going to watch the tape and he's going to be like, I should have broke this tackle. I should have juked here. I should have stiff armed this guy. I should have broke this tackle. So he's one of those guys. I look for them to rush for over 300 yards in this game. And like I said, dominate the time of possession. And for my keys to victory on defense, yes, I brought up Herbig before. He's going to definitely be a guy that I think is going to have a big game. That is going to help the defensive backs. You already brought them up. But I trust Jim Leonard. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah,
I trust Jim Leonard. So Jim Leonard is going to get these guys in the right spots. Remember, it was just the first game. So let's give it some time. Herbig has a big game, gets a push, makes the quarterback have happy feet. He throws a couple up. We get a couple picks. Let's go. Party time in Madison.
When you talk about John Leonard and trusting him, Jim Leonard, not John Leonard. I'm thinking about John Torchio again. Jim Leonard and trusting him, it's like the trust level that I have in Jim Leonard after watching him rebuild the defense again and again and again and again. It's like you would pretty much trust him to lead you blindfolded through a house of mirrors. Like, that's how much trust I have in Jim Leonard to build a good defense. Andrew said the key to victory is to not be hungover prior to the game. I mean, yeah, that always helps. If I was a college football player, I'd be wanting to win on Saturday afternoon so you can go party on Saturday night.
This game's at 2:30 though.
You still party on Saturday. Even if the game gets over at, say, 5:30, you get out of the stadium at 6:30. You know?
I'm going to have an opportunity in a few weeks. I'm going to the Illinois game.
Attaboy. All right, so my key to victory is Graham Mertz staying effective and efficient when needed. So Jake's talking about controlling the front seven of Washington State. And then I'm looking at basically, like I said, I don't see Graham Mertz throwing a maximum of 22 passes at the absolute most. Through 16 last week, just for him to remain efficient and effective, whether it be picking up third down conversions or just getting the passes to the guys that he's looking at just to keep the ball moving and have the defense have to respect that Graham Mertz can complete the passes when he needs to.
I agree.
All right, what matchups are you watching in this game?
Well, I'm watching the fronts. I've been talking about them the entire time. I'm watching their front seven versus the Badgers' offensive line. Mikey brought it up in our group chat, and I agreed with him 100%. He talked about the offensive line not playing as well, and that was kind of a trend that happened last year. And traditionally, when you watch Badgers football, you know that they're great up front, and that's one of the reasons that they can run the ball and they can control time of possession. So I'm watching the offensive line a lot this week. I know a lot of people are ball watchers. They'll watch the quarterback. They'll watch where the ball gets thrown to. A lot of people do that. I'm going to be watching position groups. That's something that I'm really, really going to try to focus on this year. I'm trying to retrain my football mind. Well, I enjoy winning as well because my teams are going to win a lot, but I'm going to watch the front seven versus our front five.
And you're just out here throwing personal attacks at me because I'm watching the Washington State quarterback and our cornerbacks.
No, is it meant for you?
So, well, that's what I'm looking at because Washington State, we keep hearing, oh, Washington State, such a passing offense. They're such a passing offense. Their quarterback threw 40 passes last week. The Badgers, like I said, have 3 transfer cornerbacks and are now without Hunter Waller. Mm-hmm. So I'm really going to be looking at it because we're looking forward. We're trying not to look past anybody. We're looking forward to that Ohio State game. Ohio State's going to sling the ball around.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be looking for cornerback growth in these first 3 games. And now the Badgers are playing without one of their starting safeties. So if they can put together a good game in the secondary against a team that's going to throw the ball a lot, that would be something that would really encourage me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I'm going to give you this weather report. And it's part of the reason why I said they're going to rush for over 300 yards. Because the weather report this week, a mix of clouds and sun in the morning, giving way to few showers during the afternoon, high of 78, winds north at 5 to 10, chance of rain 30%. So it's going to be a little bit overcasty, maybe a little rainy. That sounds like a Wisconsin Badgers football
weather. Oh,
that is football weather. That is
break out the pumpkin spice candles and open the windows, let the cold air all in.
All right, now you got me on my tangent because this bothers me every fucking year. I'm sorry for swearing, but Jesus, my birthday is September 3rd. They put out the goddamn Halloween shit before my birthday passes. That's why I hate Halloween,
dude.
Okay,
hey, dude, you're stuck on the retail seasonal schedule. They go from winter to summer to back to school to Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then we got the dead period that nobody likes in January to March.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I guess. And then they put out Easter candy, and then it's back to summer. That's the retail seasonal schedule right there. So you better expect as soon as the back-to-school supplies are gone, that Halloween candy is getting put on those fucking shelves.
Such bullshit.
You should know that by now. You're 30 years old, you old bastard.
Crap. If you run well and control time of possession, they will not halftime, opportunity to throw 40 times. I mean, we're gonna destroy them in the run game. In my opinion.
That's why. Like we said that a little bit earlier, Dad. That
James, your birthday's
controlling
literally
the time of possession. Controlling the time of possession to keep Washington State's offense off the field, which in turn is also going to make them have to pass the ball more if the Badgers are scoring touchdowns after 7, 8, 9-minute drives.
Hold on. I'm going at James. James, your birthday's literally right next to Halloween, or like literally the day before, dude. Like your birthday is like 8 weeks after mine. Like
you probably should have just accepted that, James.
That Halloween, yeah, you should have accepted it at that point. That's your problem.
Like if your birthday
is like 8 weeks after yours or before yours, dude.
If your birthday is December 20th, like you might as well accept that your birthday and Christmas presents are getting lumped together.
Oh, 100%.
You're just going to get one big present. Like this counts as your birthday and your Christmas present.
I feel kind of bad for my stepson because, like, Thanksgiving is a big family holiday. So, like, you got to travel around, go eat at all these people's places. Sometimes his birthday ends up on Thanksgiving, and I actually feel bad for him because it's like, oh man, your birthday, we spent all day like running around, like talking to people that we barely like.
Dude, yeah, but he's gonna get to a point where he's gonna get older and he's gonna be like, yeah, it's my birthday and I get to eat all of this food.
I hope,
and then take a nap, and then watch football.
One day he will, but right now he's 9, so he doesn't think like that. Well, he'll be 10 this year.
Double digits. All right.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, I mean, when you get older, like you get to just eat on Thanksgiving, then you get to take a nap, and then you watch football.
My stepson's is the 25th, so it's pretty close to yours, Simon.
All right. Give me your score prediction.
I have 34-16, Wisconsin. I gave him 16.
All right. We are literally 1 week into goddamn football season. What did you say? You said 36-16, 34-16?
34-16.
I have 31-14.
Ooh, we're close.
Already? This is literally the first score prediction we're doing. We're already freaking on top of each other for score predictions?
If we're right next to each other for Packers, then, man, we're on fire, baby.
Whatever. Get out of my head.
I just tried to think about it logically. Washington State will probably get a long touchdown pass, like a 38-yarder or something like that.
It could happen in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left in the game. The Badgers up 25 points with all the backups in like they did last week.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, we will be back on Friday night. So if you want to hear us talk about the Packers, we will be previewing Packers-Vikings on Friday night with Simon and Bryant. And if you want Packers discussion, all of our Packers talk is going to be on Friday night this year's. 69-14. All of our Packer talk this season is going to be on Friday nights. We're doing that to dedicate more time to the Green Bay Packers, which is our biggest draw. We still are going to be doing it. It's basically we don't want to add 2 hours onto this show and give you a 3.5-hour show on Wednesdays. Like I don't want your ass to be sore after you're done watching our show and commenting along with us, which we always appreciate people that are commenting along and watching live. That's why we do the show live, so we can interact with the comments, and Matt can be a child and comment on 69-14. For watching the Greek games, Dad, you have to have like the Euro Basket Pass, or there was like one station that had it. I can find the tweet. I think Eric Name tweeted it out that had the places you can watch it, but it's like the Eurobasket channel package, and then there was like one station that had it. But I do want to bring something up with Giannis though, real quick. Giannis had he played like every other game in the Eurobasket thing, and I saw a lot of people being like, "I'm not happy that he's playing for Greece because he's going to get hurt. He's under contract here." And my response to that was, he's going to be playing basketball somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not like the guys are sitting in bubble wrap the day after they're eliminated from the playoffs up until opening day. Like, he's going to be playing basketball all offseason somewhere. It's just because he's on national TV and you're seeing him play that it's more in the front of your mind. We got a little bit of Bucks rumors as far as trades are going. There's nothing really concrete yet except for the Bucks making some calls. So we'll probably get a little bit more news on that as we get closer to October. And that's when October 1st is when Jordan Nwara's qualifying offer would expire. So that's maybe when we'll have a little bit more news on that. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll have a little bit more to talk about with basketball. And yeah, Matt said Jokic and Doncic are playing. Rudy Gobert is playing. There's a bunch of NBA guys that are over there.
Bro,
so
you see Rudy Gobert posting up against fucking Dennis Schroeder?
dude, Rudy Gobert, yeah. And he settled for like a 12-foot
Bro, he was like
shot.
He looked like he was getting pushed by a 6-foot guy.
And then I guess today he dunked on Luka.
Oh, did he?
I didn't see the play. I just saw
okay.
the Bleacher Report notification. But and yeah, Andrew.
Oh my god.
Like I get that he's under contract in America, but like he's got enough money now where he could live the rest of his life comfortably because he's been in such a position in his life where he didn't have any money. Yeah. So if Milwaukee was going to be like, you're not allowed to play in Greece, he'd probably be like, all right, I'll just retire and go play in Greece for the rest of his life.
Yeah, with
I'm
all
sure
his
he'd
brothers.
be perfectly happy.
All his brothers would go there too.
Exactly.
Play and yeah. Well, I gotta say, Pat Connaughton has been more clutch, I'll say, than Russell Westbrook this last season.
Stop saying to trade Pat Connaughton. The dude is the glue guy for this team, and he was one of the most reliable 3-point shooters during the entire title run.
Pat Connaughton needs to retire a buck because I love him, and that is the end of the discussion.
He is the new playoff P. It's not Paul George. It's Pat Connaughton.
Yeah, still a little bit of Paul George because I like Paul George's game, but
I like Paul George too, and he has a cool nickname when he switched his number to 13. That was awesome because then he's PG-13.
Yeah, that was dude. He missed all those years when he was up and coming.
I know.
He had the perfect name for it, but
I know. At least he realized it before he retired.
True that.
All right, like I said, maybe we'll have some more basketball news in 2 or 3 weeks as we get closer to October, but we will have Packers show Friday night, and then we will be back next Wednesday. So I will see you Friday night.
Yes, sir. Peace out, boys.